Wow. Hi, my name is Roberto. How do we start? I'm going to start by telling you a story. If you guys want to sit down, you can. It'll be a little while. My feet were hurting standing up there, but I'm going to tell you a story about a little boy that was beaten, battered, and abused. A little boy who was told all his life, shh, we don't talk about that. I'm going to tell you a story about a little boy who grew up trying to be a man and was confused about the definition of what a man is. A little boy who grew up thinking that a man was the one who was the most feared, and that was how he was respected. He was the most aggressive, the most violent, and he was the angriest. And therefore he was the champion. If I kept you far away enough from me, you could not come inside and hurt me. A story of a little boy, after being repeatedly raped as a child, grew up and then was indoctrinated into a pedophilic relationship with a man under the guise of being a father figure, of being a mentor, repeatedly abused. That little boy. That little boy is me. In growing up and experiencing horrendous things, things that children should never ever experience, I grew to dislike myself. I grew to want to hide in the dark. And for most of you who are here and deal in this field, you know that for grown-ups who are survivors, who don't talk about what happened to them, we do several different things. I think one of the main things that we do is that we drown ourselves in drugs and alcohol. We self-medicate. Not because we were bad people, not because we want to get high, just simply because we want to quiet the voices and dull the visions and not see the movie that goes over and over in our heads of what happened to us. To deny the reality of what was so real. I call them dark places, perhaps the dungeon of despair. Bad places inside of me that weren't created by me, but that were created by other people. People who I let come inside me, come into my heart, people who I loved and cared for. By the time I was 20 years old, I was homeless. I was living on the streets. I was addicted to anything and everything that would make me not feel. I made a decision to try to find a new way of life, and I did. Thank you. In the process of healing and not dealing with those issues, I got married, had a little girl, and somehow or another, drugs and alcohol kind of came back into the picture. You know, the demons came back. And in trying to hide and self-medicate, because I don't want to be diagnosed. You know, diagnoses are so taboo. I have to be a man and I have to be strong and I'll take care of this myself. Not realizing all of the resources of all the people who just came up here and spoke was there. But you know, some of the most amazing things happen through the most tragic events. As a result of all of the horrendous things that happened to me, I lost myself in drugs and alcohol once again. And I had a little girl. She was 3 years old. Now, I never abused her, so I thought. But what I came to find out, neglect is abuse. Being an absent father is abuse. Unintentional abuse, but abuse nonetheless. And so because I was consumed by my own demons, I kind of was absent from my daughter's life. So what happens when a parent is absent from a child's life is that other people step in and take care of that child, just like other people took care of me. And it took a 3-year-old little girl named Serenity Santiago, my daughter, to tell me the horrendous things that were happening to her under the care of someone else. That I had to face my own demons. That I had to look at all that had happened to me. Now, I just told you what I thought a man was. Violent, aggressive, feared. And so my first thought and my first reaction was, I'll take care of this. this man must be eliminated. But I thank God that at that time, I had made another choice. I had made a choice to find help. And through some men who care for other men, truly care, who want to help men to be real men, and a real man is loving, caring, compassionate, and understanding. He is a leader not by force, but by example. A real man leads by showing, not telling. So, I sought the help. I sought the help of the Sexual Assault Treatment Center. I sought the help of the Broward County Sheriff's Office. I sought the help that was not given to me as a child. I began to reach out and understand and know that I wanted to do for my daughter everything that I wanted done for me as a child. You see, because when I was abused and my family found out, they were told, shh, don't talk about that. Secrets kill us from the inside out. It's like pouring acid into a plastic container, a thick plastic container. It doesn't burst all at once, but little by little it eats away at us from the inside out. So I am grateful for the services. As a result of those services that were provided for me, and for my daughter, I was able to not blame her. See, I was told at 5 years old, after being raped by my cousin, why did you let that happen to you? Why did I let that happen to me? Now you sit here and you listen to me and you go, who would say that? You know who would say that? You would say that if you didn't know any better. My family didn't know any better. They somehow thought that I was responsible for the abuse that was being inflicted upon me. They didn't know. Nobody was teaching them. And so, of course, my cousin gets chipped away and I'm told to be quiet. Well, I wasn't going to do that to my daughter. I'll never forget the day my daughter told me what happened to her. She had just finished taking a bath. She was 3 years old. And as she was drying off and I was putting powder on her and I was taking care of her like a good father, she said, Daddy. She said, Daddy, Johnny keeps putting things inside. I have to tell you that it took everything inside of me to not be angry with my daughter. Because I went back to what I know. And I stopped. And I said a prayer. I prayed to a powerful God that I have. And I said, help me be the man. Help me be the man that I wanted to have in my life when I told my parents. And I smiled at her, and I said, honey, really? Well, tell me what else has been happening. She said, we play these games. And I'm not going to go into any more details. Put it together yourself. Read the reports. Go to the sheriff's office. They're all over the place. I hugged her, and I embraced her, and I said, thank you so much, honey. Daddy is so proud of you. You're such a brave little girl. This is not going to happen anymore, don't worry. Johnny's not going to touch you ever again. And she hugged me and she said, thank you, Daddy. Went to the sheriff's office, Sexual Assault Treatment Center, they did the research, they did the investigation. Now, for those of you who don't know, when one parent makes an accusation of sexual abuse against a family member, you make and create a division. Not intentional. Because the perpetrator is the one who actually created the division, but the family doesn't view it that way. You told the family secret, how dare you? Oh, you're making this up. No, I'm not making this up. And the Broward Sheriff's Office, and the Sexual Assault Treatment Center, and facilities and institutions like the Council for Children's Services, they proved that it would be impossible for me to make up a story like that. Now this man, Jonathan Delgado, is doing 12 to life as a result of a fine, fine job that the Broward Sheriff's Office did in doing a good case to convict him. Now, as a result of that, we had to go to trial. You know how difficult it is to go to trial when your daughter's been raped? And she's a little girl? It takes years, and it took years. I want to thank Susan Barbini from Henderson Mental Health. Because as a result of that, I had to face every demon that I had inside of me. I had to step into a courtroom, a scared little boy in a man's body, face the perpetrator who raped my daughter, and in him see every abuse that had ever occurred to me. Everything that had been inflicted upon me, all of those dark places that I kept hidden, that I didn't want to talk about, I didn't want to see, I didn't want to deal with. But let me tell you about the victory of having someone stand by your side. Susan Barbini held my hand as I walked into that courtroom, and she said, we're going to get through this. And I was able to testify to what my daughter said, and she never had to go to court. And the judge was able to come to a conviction. Now, as a result of that, we heal and we grow, but let me tell you, I heard a great man once say that putting a nail in a piece of wood and removing it does not remove the hole. Injuries, harm, abuse, it's like a nail in our hearts. We can pull the nails out. We can even put wood putty on it, and we can sand it down, and we can make it look like it was never there, but it's there. But what we can do is we learn to rebuild. We learn to behave. I stand here not only as a survivor, but the father of a survivor. I stand here to tell you that we can make a difference one person at a time, just simply by listening to our children, by simply listening to our hearts, by giving ourselves the opportunity to grow. I have full custody of my daughter. And I am so grateful because the court system saw fit to put her under my care. I fought hard for that. But men recover. Men are good parents. We don't have to live by the lie of the dragon of misinformation that tells us we gotta be big, bad, and tough. I'm a big, bad, tough dude. Let me tell you, don't mess with me, don't mess with my daughter. I will take care of you. But I'm a loving, caring, gentle human being. I'm a man who has love and compassion in my heart. I'm a man who will hear you and listen to you and ask you, what can I do? Our responsibility as the men in this community is to lead by the examples that we set. Great policies, great things can be done by institutions, but ultimately it comes down to me. Women, you also. I can't speak for the women. I'm not a woman. I can only speak for the men. But know this, that there are great men here who are supported by even greater women. And there are great women here who are supported by great men. Let's give ourselves an opportunity to share, to grow, to learn. If you can, in any way, shape, or form, contribute whatever you can contribute, whether it's your time, whether it's $1, or however many zeros you can add behind it, whether it's just a service. I don't know, drive somebody somewhere, pick somebody up, answer a phone, reach out to somebody, your next door neighbor. Hey, I've noticed you've been working really hard. You got 2 kids. Hey, can I cook dinner for you? Can I help you watch the kids? I can't do it all the time, but if you want to go out tonight, I'll give you a hand. Very simple little things that we can do as community members can make a big, big difference. I hope that if, as you leave here, that I touched your heart in some way to let you know, men recover. Thank you for letting me share.